what's going on post DeepSeek, whether there's going to be demand for their chips. But we did hear from all of the big majors, whether that be Amazon, Meta, Alphabet, any of them, looking at spending even more next time around this year for CapEx. Does that, how do you feel about the shares given the pullback that we've seen in Nvidia shares as a result?
Sure, absolutely. You know, when DeepSeek came out, somebody compared it to the Sputnik moment. I think it has been kind of a Sputnik moment because the U.S. spending on defense and aerospace went up, 10, 20-fold in the decade following that Sputnik moment. So, since DeepSeek news came out, we have seen, I think, Becky, to your point, the U.S. hyperscalers raised their CapEx. What was supposed to be a 20% growth year is now over a 30% growth year, over $360 billion. We have seen Stargate being announced with $500 billion of spending over multiple years. And then last week, what I think probably went unnoticed is the intention of European customers to spend. The European Commission announced a 200 billion euro program. France announced a 109 billion euro program, all for investing in AI. So we think this is a long-term theme. When it comes to NVIDIA's earnings specifically, they are going through a product transition. There are China kind of restriction headwinds. So it's possible that the quarter they guide, might be a tad squishy, but we look forward. The stock is trading at the lower end of its valuation range. I think it is absolutely a leader in being able to benefit from a lot of this spending. So we would be buyers of NVIDIA. It's our top pick. But as I mentioned, that earnings are always a volatile time frame. But right after earnings, we think NVIDIA's GPU technology conference will help to put the positive momentum back in.
Early Friday saw a 3% increase in Nvidia's stock price as Foxconn, formerly known as Han Hai Precision Industry, predicted stronger sales of artificial intelligence in its fourth quarter results. Apple partner Foxconn predicts that first quarter AI server revenue would quadruple compared to the previous quarter and a year earlier, indicating a high demand for AI processors. But should I purchase or sell Nvidia stock right now? On March 17th, investors await Nvidia's symposium for AI developers. At the presentation, Nvidia will introduce its next-generation chip, Rubin and Blackwell Ultra. Reports that Taiwan Semiconductor was thinking of forming a joint venture with the leader in AI chips to manage Intel's manufacturing operations caused Nvidia's shares to soar. Broadcom and Advanced Micro Devices, two rival chip designers, may be additional joint venture partners. Taiwan Semi won't own more than 50% of the company. The Trump administration must also approve the project. In just 4 weeks, Nvidia's 12-month price performance has dropped from outperforming 87% of all other equities to 49%. Additionally, the 200-day moving average is below the shares. When comparing the stock to the S&P 500 index, the relative strength line is starting to rise. So, what implications does this have for Nvidia's stock? Let's explore that. But first, a big thank you to those of you who've stuck with us this far. Creating these videos takes significant effort and dedication. So if you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts on Nvidia stock in the comments. Your support truly helps us grow. Now let's get back to the video.
People recognizing there was panic, and the panic was frankly from out of China and whether they've passed us. It was very reminiscent to the Sputnik period in our country, how the Russians passed us. And
you're talking about DeepSeek. Of course, this is weeks ago at this point, but the reaction, particularly in Nvidia stock and in many of the power suppliers, which I think continues to be a question. I would
say that here. A lot of people are saying, look, right now it's still good. A lot of people are saying, when I was with a lot of CEOs, look, if Meta, if Alphabet, if Amazon are still committed to NVIDIA, then there was no surprise.
Right.
I believe that. I think that there are another wave of thought, which is just actually good for NVIDIA because it gets more people on board. Not sure if I agree with that, but it is a cheap way to get on board, and then you do need training, real training. I think the excitement part is video. Video means robotics. That's the next leg for
NVIDIA, you feel like that's the next leg.
Because over and over again, when you're even GTC last year, the big conference that Jensen runs, that was all about how Blackwell will help video. And video allows a robot to learn how to do things. Now, video, David, is when he keeps saying anything you can do, they can do better physically.
Right.
But they need to see the videos. Now they can. And I think that that's a big step up. And it's not something that DeepSeek could possibly possibly imitate. They're nowhere like that.
No, and as this year moves along, we're going to be monitoring so many different things when it comes to the developments in AI, particularly, as you say, sort of in robotics and what advances are being made there and what's going to happen.
But look, I'm trying to avoid the political.
Yeah. Well, there's so much going on.
But that's all.
And it's a lot to tackle for any management team, particularly if you're in the line of sight of things involving tariffs in some way or other.
Additionally, the stock's average price performance over the last 21 days is below its 50-day average performance, according to stock research platforms. Oracle announced a $130 billion backlog on Monday, excluding any Stargate contracts. The record booking indicated a huge demand, according to Chief Executive Safra Catz. Earlier, Broadcom reported better-than-expected results as its artificial intelligence revenue reached $4.1 billion, a 77% increase from the previous year. In the current quarter, the business anticipates that AI sales will reach $4.4 billion. By 2027, Broadcom's top 3 clients hope to have 1 million chip clusters. Nvidia's shares rose as a result of the optimistic spending expectation for AI infrastructure. Additionally, according to Morgan Stanley analysts, the market for AI chips, of which Broadcom is a specialist, is expected to grow from 11% to 15% by 2030, with Nvidia's graphics processing units accounting for the majority of the remaining share. Marvell Technology, which released a slightly better-than-expected earnings report on Wednesday, came after Broadcom's findings. Tech leaders include Nvidia, Oracle, Marvell, and Broadcom. Limiting Nvidia chip exports to China can be difficult since merchants pass the chips through middlemen, according to a previous Wall Street Journal article. However, investors worried that a total prohibition on H20 chips would be the next big thing. For the time being, Nvidia complies with rules while exporting H20 processors to China. To stay informed about the latest developments from Nvidia and the ever-changing stock market, consider subscribing to our investing tutorial channel. We provide daily updates on significant market shifts and key catalysts, so hit that subscribe button to ensure you never miss crucial information. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Nvidia stock, so please share your opinions in the comments below. Now let's dive into today's video.
It says, keep coming with your new models, because we need to just sell even more chips.
Exactly. If I'm going to thread a theme, you had Steve that say basically they all do the same thing. You had Kate mention commoditization, but the commonality between all of this is the foundation is NVIDIA, and that means that NVIDIA is going to continue to do well when it comes to demand. Well, we know from the Grok 3 that it was trained on 200,000 H100s. That's double the original 100,000 they talked about last year, which shows, hey, we need even more chips to compete at the top level, which would further drive CapEx for a lot of other companies. The second major point, too, is that all of Grok 3 was trained on Hopper chips, which is, I guess, the current iteration, the one that people can actually get their hands on. It's not trained on Blackwell, which could further drive upgrades in the near future. And we're going to hear about that next week with NVIDIA's earnings. And then the third point is just this was all built in 92 days, right? So Elon Musk said it was the largest liquid cooling cluster of GPUs out there. If they're able to do that, get their hands on all the chips in 92 days, that bodes well for NVIDIA demand to remain consistent and not have these air pockets or moments of transition between quarters that some people are worried about.
Yeah, we'll see what they deliver. But a week from today, expectations, I guess, are going to be high again, right? Because the stock has been ramping into the print yet again.
Yeah, it's actually above, well, it was above that 140 level when you had DeepSeek, I'm calling it the freakout in January. But the major concern also for NVIDIA that we have to mention is these export controls, any incoming restrictions coming from the Trump administration, if there's any retaliation on China's side, that could impact NVIDIA. So that's an overhang. And then it's the supply issues that with Blackwell, there's so much demand, but there's still some issues. There have been rumors of issues of the advanced packaging that goes onto those chips, and so perhaps that's delayed the increase in revenues to the following quarter. But it's still, demand's still there. That theory, that thesis, that story for NVIDIA hasn't changed.
A total prohibition would make no sense and would give the Chinese artificial intelligence industry to competitors like Huawei, according to Stacy Razgon, an analyst at Bernstein. A recent analysis from LEK Consulting claims that investor opinion now strongly links a company's enterprise value to the effectiveness of its AI growth plans. According to the report, a business that successfully implements its AI transformation might see a 19% increase in valuation. Conversely, a badly designed or implemented AI transformation may result in a 9% value loss. An LEK analysis based on S&P 500 profit and loss statistics and the findings of an LEK executive survey supports this. It should be mentioned that the 28% change is the average shift in a company's value brought about by its usage of AI. For some, the impact may be considerably greater. Similarly, by combining data to generate fresh insights, new business models to monetize data, and even new prospects, AI can assist businesses in discovering new sources of income. Aaron Rakes, an analyst at Wells Fargo, stated on March 11th that the recent steep drop in Nvidia's stock price represents a buying opportunity. Rakers kept their price objective for the stock at $185 and their rating at overweight. The analyst expects the event will cover 5 subjects, including co-package optics, where he claimed investors are very interested in Nvidia's position. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.
To the AI market, which has been a big part of what's driven many of the mega caps, certainly Nvidia now. What do you think is holding that story up as we look ahead to Nvidia earnings next week? I mean, the mega caps have kind of been passing the baton between them. Even though there's been some broadening, it's not like those big guys have given up the ghost.
Well, but again, the bigger picture is every single day there's a new headline with regard to a new AI startup. And in the final analysis is if you think about the internet revolution, 2 things went on. As it became clear that it became more important in terms of people's everyday lives, you had this sort of multiplier effect to the use of it, to the business applications. And we're in the stage now where corporate America knows that they have to engage in AI because it is part of people's everyday life. And the DeepSeek news tells you that the demand is going to rise and that things are going to happen at an all-in cheaper price. And
industry reports continue to highlight this year's event as demonstrating some CPO integration in Nvidia's switch networking portfolio, even though we would be extremely surprised to see co-package optics, silicon photonics, SiPho, emerge at the GPU level at this year's event, likely in the next-generation Rubin architecture. At this year's GTC, we believe it is reasonably expected that Nvidia would introduce CPO integration in its Quantum InfiniBand offering. The introduction of Blackwell Ultra, GB300, post-training and test time scaling, with an emphasis on inferencing, are anticipated to be among the other important subjects covered. In addition to listing expected subjects, the company mentioned that if history repeats itself, Nvidia may experience a comeback rally the following week. Next week, the business anticipates the GPU Technology Conference, or GTC. According to data from Wells Fargo, Nvidia's stock has performed better than that of its competitors over the conference period. We continue to have positive opinions about Nvidia's goal of expanding its platform, and we plan to purchase Nvidia before next week.